Welcome to the Mills Knows Bills podcast. My name is Mills Bender. I'm the founder and CEO of Mills Knows Bills, where we help you, variable income earners, master your money in 90 days. The point of this podcast is to help you make the most of your fluctuating income so you can stop living paycheck to paycheck, pay off your debt twice as fast, and get on track toward reaching both your personal and professional financial goals. Now, as I continue to grow my team here at MKB, you may have some guest hosts from time to time. However, our goal does not change. Whether we're bringing in a guest speaker, having an in-depth conversation about our personal finances, or talking about a topic that is of interest to you, our goal is to help you master your money. Hello and welcome back to another episode of the Mills Knows Bills podcast. I'm your host, as well as founder and CEO of MKB, Mills Bender. On this podcast, we answer entrepreneurs' burning financial questions. And by answering these questions, they then take that information and propel their business forward. With us today, we have Devin. I'm really excited to meet with Devin because we are part of the same group out in Utah together called Real Business Owners. But we've actually not had the pleasure of meeting before this podcast. So Devin, please take a moment, introduce yourself, and let everybody know what you do.
Thanks, Mills. Thanks for having me here today. Devin Pope. I'm the managing director and senior advisor with Nilsen Partners here in Salt Lake City, Utah. We provide wealth management and financial planning for high net worth clients.
Awesome. And so what is your burning financial question today?
Yeah, the one thing that, I'm continuing to look at is, where can we find the biggest bang for our buck when it comes to marketing dollars? Are bigger client events more useful? Is it better to have more smaller prospecting events with individuals? Should we be spending more dollars towards website and SEO type of strategies? Or is it social media? Should we have a bigger presence in our social media, whether that's Facebook or LinkedIn, and spending more advertising dollars, in those areas?
So are you specifically asking for yourself or on behalf of maybe some of your clients who own businesses?
No, on behalf of our firm, of just, where should we be spending our dollars? We have a budget amount, where can we find the biggest bang for the buck and for those marketing dollars that we want to spend?
You should do what I'm doing and start a podcast.
That's funny. There's another advisor that said they did a podcast and it's worked out very well for them.
So you start a podcast, you bring on strategic referral partners and you pick their brains on hot topics. You can bring on clients that have success stories and just have a full-blown testimonial of sorts, but also allowing them to pitch their business and what they do. You can bring on your prospective clients and find a way to kind of interview them and have that conversation. Because it's in the world of finance, people need to know, like, and trust you. And the timeline for people like us to bring in somebody new, it takes a lot longer than it does for maybe somebody who's in the print industry, right? It doesn't take as much trust to send somebody your business card or your shirt order. Because at the end of the day, if you end up not liking them, that's what, a couple $100 that you're missing out on. Whereas a financial advisor or, a fractional CFO, that takes a higher level of trust because we require more money and we require more insights and vulnerability with our clients. Right? So if you start a podcast, then you can put it on a lot of different platforms. Simply by being consistent, you'll have higher views. You then turn those episodes into shorts that you get to post on YouTube. I also, quick sidebar, this is not a paid ad, highly recommend the podcast studio I'm going to, C47 Films in Orlando. It's worth the flight out, even if you just come out once a quarter and you bulk record content like I do. Right? But then you can take those reels or shorts and post them as reels on your social platforms. My girl, Chloe, with Day of Socials, will also record behind the scenes reels and post them there as well. So was not intending this podcast episode to be me promoting my two main marketing companies I work with. But What I will say is simply by posting consistently on those YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, all the platforms out there, I have had an increased number of clients come my way. I have ample speaking engagements come my way, all because they found me on social and they've already built that relationship with me. And so coming from the financial advising world, you might be stuck in some compliance areas, which is why I said start a podcast, because you're not intending the podcast for financial advice. You're intending it for more so guidance on basics that compliance won't slap you on the wrist for, but you're able to show that you can talk with people and make them feel like they know, like, and trust you. So when it does come time for you to have that conversation with them about them starting accounts with you or rolling their money over to you, you don't need to build that rapport. It's already built. Does that make sense?
No, that's great advice. Makes a lot of sense. And I mean, in my industry, trust is so important, and it's not easy to earn, right?
No, it's not. And the crazy part that I've been talking about this with a lot of entrepreneurs lately. And with marketing for people like you and I, there's not going to be a set ROI, right? You kind of have to look at it as a fixed expense. Chloe, with Day of Socials, I'm not expecting dollar for dollar or 2x or 3x every month categorized, because frankly speaking, every client at the end of the day is coming through social pages or they're double checking me on social pages. The podcast with C47 Films, I'm not expecting dollar for dollar for them. And that's why for marketing for us, it's a little different. What I would encourage you to do is establish a budget each month that you're going to put towards your marketing and treat it as a mandatory expense, because you need to be consistent with it. When times get tough financially, a lot of business owners will say, I'm going to cut marketing. That is when you should double down. Because if everybody else is cutting their marketing and you're the only person still doing it, you're the only person in front of your competitors' clients' faces. Right. So
yeah, makes sense.
Treat it as a constant would be my suggestion.
Okay.
Yeah. Any other questions about that?
No, that's good advice. It's just getting it established and compliant and trying to figure out what are those topics you want to talk about. But I do like the idea of having both clients, prospective clients, and centers of influences on the podcast. And when you say on a consistent basis, what do you think is consistent, but you're not overloading your audience with, too many different episodes?
So I view my podcast and my social strategy as two different avenues, because the types of short form videos, the shorts on YouTube that will go viral on YouTube, are slightly different than what will go off on Instagram, right? So they work in tandem in terms of topics, but I don't crisscross a lot. So in terms of podcast, I like to do seasons. So once a quarter, I will come in the studio and I will bulk record every single episode for that season. And so I like to do 9 episodes, take 4 weeks of a break, and then 9 episodes, and they drop once a week. Okay. On the social strategy, I'm posting, 6 times a week, 7 times a week, something like that. It's 6 or 7, but it's once a day. And the posts will change. It'll be between reels versus graphics versus photos. But the idea is that I'm always giving out that value. Podcast is once a week at the end of the day. Social is once a day at the end of the day.
Okay, great.
Yeah. But I would encourage you, work smarter, not harder. Don't feel like you have to record all at once. I see Chloe once every 2 months, and I come in the studio once every 3 months. So it kind of makes it feel more feasible, I guess is the right word I'm looking for.
And then the trick is just organizing your schedule and your guests to all be there at that time, and so you can knock out all those.
Yeah, I mean, but you have 3 months to get people on your podcast, right?
Yeah.
So you can create the link in advance, have people sign up, but it also depends on how long you want your episodes.
Yeah, and I assume for most people, what do they say? It's 2 minutes shorter is better. Or, I mean, I don't know. A lot of people are watching podcasts for an hour, right?
We were actually just talking about this before we hit record on this episode. It really depends. It depends. I find for my content, and you're going to have to just test it and try it for you. Um, I look at the rolling 90 days period. The content that gets more views is typically content around 10 to 12 minutes max for me right now. Hence the shorter
Okay.
episodes. But Chloe and I were talking about 10 minutes ago, how some of these hour-long episodes are actually getting a lot more traction. So maybe next season, that's something that we're going to start trying. We'll find out, but it's not a set science. That's why it's important for you to include in that budget, having somebody give you that guidance who can focus on that. Because you and I, our brains don't work like that typically. We're focused on the numbers, we're focused on the relationships. Marketing is a whole different beast in and of itself.
Yeah, it definitely makes sense.
Awesome. Well, with that said, let's take a moment for you to market yourself. What do you do? Tell people how they can find you.
Yeah, well, thank you. So yeah, as I mentioned, my firm's name is Nilsine Partners. We provide financial planning and investment management for high net worth families. Um, our main focus is what we call as a planning first firm, where we want to understand who you are, what your balance sheet, what your cash flows look like, what goals you want to achieve, and we really create a relationships that over time we help you work by working together reach those goals, whether that's retirement, legacy planning for families, sending kids to school, just understanding, how my finances work and how they all intertwine together. And I've been personally doing it for over 20 years. I'm a certified financial planner and also have my MBA as well. Work with a wide variety of clients, from doctors to business owners to executives. Really enjoy it because I think everybody's situation is unique, and it's really fun to try to put together, the puzzle pieces to help them achieve their goals. And I always think that, it's always great when you can make, a home run hit for a client. But I also say if you can hit a lot of singles and doubles and, small advice that adds up over time can really compound and be impactful for them. Our offices are in Denver and also Salt Lake City. You can find me at nilsinepartners.com. Or else you can also email me at devinpope@nilsinepartners.com.
Perfect. Well, thank you so much for taking time out of your day and allowing us to kind of banter back and forth about marketing. I hope that it gives you some ideas as to how to get started, and I hope that you see a return on that investment in your business.
Yeah, thank you. It's great advice. I mean, it's always, sometimes you kind of think inside the box of what people have been
Yeah.
doing, but you got to go outside of the box to get, reach to other type of people. So I think it's a great thing for my team to strategize on, and how we could get to a podcast to get a wider range of audience following the Nielsen team.
Awesome. Well, I hope to see that podcast soon. Thank you so much. And thank you everybody for tuning in. I'll see y'all next time and have a great day.